A warm welcome to the Summary Studio. Today, we're exploring Robert Cialdini's fascinating book, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. This work shines a light on the vital principles of persuasion that shape our interactions every day. Stay with us as we delve into the psychology of persuasion. The first principle Cialdini introduces is reciprocity. This principle is deeply ingrained in our human nature, shaping our interactions and relationships. Essentially, reciprocity is an unwritten social contract that obliges us to return the favor when someone does something nice for us. It's like an invisible thread of indebtedness, pulling us towards reciprocation. Let's consider a simple, everyday example. Imagine you're at a party and someone you barely know offers you a drink. Even though you didn't ask for it, you accept it graciously. Now, later in the evening, this person asks you for a favor. Suddenly, you find yourself more inclined to help them out. Why is that? It's the principle of reciprocity at work. You feel an inherent obligation to return the favor. But here's the twist. It's not just confined to our personal interactions. This principle is widely used in marketing and sales strategies. Ever been offered a free sample at a store? That's reciprocity. The idea is that by giving you something for free, you'll feel inclined to make a purchase in return. It's subtle, it's powerful, and it's everywhere. This principle, while seemingly simple, has a profound influence on our decision-making process. It's a psychological trigger that can be harnessed to influence our behavior, sometimes without us even realizing it. So, the next time someone does you a favor, be aware of the potential influence at play. The second principle we encounter is commitment and consistency. This is an intriguing aspect of human behavior which suggests that we are wired to behave in ways that are consistent with our previous actions, decisions, or commitments. It's as if once we take a step in a certain direction, we feel compelled to continue moving along that same path, even if circumstances change. Now let's imagine you're in a negotiation scenario. You've made an initial commitment, perhaps you've agreed to a certain price or set of terms. As the negotiation progresses, you find yourself sticking to your initial commitment, even if it no longer seems like the best option. This is the principle of commitment and consistency in action. But why do we do this? Well, consistency is generally associated with integrity and rationality. It makes us feel good about ourselves and others perceive us positively. On the flip side, inconsistency might make us appear indecisive or untrustworthy. Here's where it gets interesting. This principle is often used as a tool of persuasion. Once someone has made a commitment, they're more likely to follow through with it, even if it's against their best interests. Clever negotiators use this to their advantage by getting the other party to commit early on. So, the next time you're in a negotiation or making a decision, pause and reflect. Are you acting out of commitment and consistency, or is it truly the best choice for you? Remember, consistency is key, but it can also be a tool of persuasion. Next up, we have the principle of social proof. This fascinating principle revolves around the idea that people are more likely to do something if they see others doing it. It's a psychological phenomenon that influences our decisions and actions in significant ways. For instance, imagine you're walking down a busy street and you notice a large crowd gathering around a street performer. Even if you're in a hurry, chances are you'll stop for a moment, maybe even join the crowd. You might think, if all these people are watching, it must be worth seeing. This is social proof in action. Now let's take this principle to the world of social media marketing. Ever noticed how a post with a large number of likes, shares, or comments tends to attract even more engagement? That's because when people see others engaging with a post, they're more likely to engage with it too. It's kind of like a snowball effect. The more engagement a post has, the more engagement it tends to attract. Businesses and marketers harness this principle to increase their reach and engagement. They understand that people are more likely to trust and follow the crowd's actions, so they use strategies like testimonials, influencer endorsements, and user-generated content to build social proof and influence people's behavior. So, when you're following the crowd, be sure it's not just because everyone else is doing it. The fourth principle Cialdini presents is liking. This principle is a fascinating one, as it's based on the simple yet powerful fact that we are more likely to be persuaded by people we like. It's a principle that's deeply embedded in our social interactions, and it plays a significant role in shaping our decisions and choices. Let's delve into this with an example. Picture your favorite celebrity endorsing a brand of sneakers. Now, you may not know much about the quality or the comfort of these sneakers, but the fact that someone you like and admire is endorsing them might make you more inclined to consider purchasing them. This is the principle of liking in action. This principle is extensively used in public relations. PR professionals often work to create a likable image for their clients, knowing that a positive image can be a powerful tool in persuasion. They use strategies like associating their clients with positive values or causes, or employing humor and charm to create a positive emotional connection with the audience. But here's a thought to ponder on. We should be aware of this principle, not just to understand why we might be persuaded to buy a pair of sneakers, but also to make more informed and conscious decisions. So, the next time you find yourself swayed by someone you like, consider the principle of liking at work. The fifth principle is the principle of authority. Authority, in its essence, is a pervasive force that guides our actions and decisions, often without us even realizing it. It is a psychological principle that taps into our inherent tendency to obey figures who we perceive as authoritative. It's an instinctive response, deeply ingrained in us from an early age, to listen to and follow those who hold positions of power and expertise. Let's illustrate with a simple example. Picture yourself at work. Your boss, the figure of authority in this scenario, requests you to complete a project by the end of the day. Despite having other plans, you are likely to prioritize this task because of the authority your boss holds over you. This is the principle of authority in action, and it's a dynamic that plays out in countless scenarios every day, from corporate hierarchies to social interactions. Organizations skillfully leverage this principle to maintain order and efficiency. The chain of command in a company, the pecking order in a social group, all these are manifestations of the principle of authority. It's a tool that, when used judiciously, can facilitate smooth operations and productive collaborations. But here's a word of caution. Authority can indeed be persuasive, but it's crucial not to follow it blindly. Always remember to question it, evaluate it critically. Because while authority can guide us, it should not dictate our actions in a way that undermines our own judgment and values. Remember, authority can be persuasive, but it's important to question it. Last but not least, we have the principle of scarcity. This principle is quite an intriguing one, and it's all about how we perceive the value of things based on their availability. The less there is of something, the more we want it. This principle is deeply rooted in our psychology, stemming from our survival instincts. Let's dive into an example to better understand this. Imagine you're in a store and you see a sign saying, "Only 2 items left in stock." Immediately, you feel an urge to buy that item, even if you didn't need it before. Why? Because scarcity creates a sense of urgency. It makes us believe that if we don't act now, we might miss out on something valuable. This feeling is so powerful that it often overrules our logical thinking. Now let's see how this principle is applied in economics. Scarcity is a fundamental concept in economics. It's the basic economic problem of having seemingly unlimited human wants in a world with limited resources. Because of this, we must make decisions about how to allocate and use scarce resources. And this is where the principle of scarcity comes into play. It drives demand, influences pricing, and impacts decision-making. So, the next time you're tempted by a limited time offer, remember the principle of scarcity. It might just be a psychological trick designed to make you believe that the product or service is more valuable because it's scarce. So, there you have it, the 6 principles of persuasion according to Robert Cialdini. We've journeyed through the power of reciprocity and its role in fostering mutual benefit. We've delved into the principle of commitment and consistency, which highlights our innate desire to align our actions with our words. We've explored the principle of social proof and how it shapes our decisions and choices. We've touched on the principle of liking, reminding us that we're more likely to be influenced by those we admire. We've examined the principle of authority and its impact on our obedience. Lastly, we've uncovered the principle of scarcity and its ability to increase desire. All these principles weave into the fabric of our daily interactions, subtly shaping our responses and actions. Thank you for visiting the Summary Studio. Stay tuned for more enlightening summaries.